A special thank you to our sponsor, the Detroit Historical Museum, for making this show possible. Discover the vibrant tapestry of Detroit's past and enjoy the treasure trove of Detroit's rich history where the stories of Detroit come to life. Plan a trip and experience it for yourself. Tickets start at just $10, so don't miss out on a once-in-a-lifetime experience. For more information, visit DetroitHistorical.org or call 313-833-1805.
Now, coming to you live from Detroit, your host, Claudreen Jackson.
Hello. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Claudreen Jackson Show. I'm Claudreen Jackson, your host for this show. I'm celebrating my new show. I have an old show. It's called A Spoonful of Comfort, and you can find that show on Google, YouTube, WHPR TV. It's A Spoonful of Comfort. I also write a blog called A Spoonful of Comfort. And being as how I'm 84 years old and I was getting ready to retire, then I was thinking about retiring, and then I met my wonderful, well, I'd already knew him, but my wonderful producer, Prophet Blaine Irving, gave me a new way of thinking. So he added some things to the show, and he has brought me into the modern days. So thank you so much for tuning in. So I want to start with a prayer. Dear Lord, guide me, help me, show me the way. Lord, we humbly ask that you give us the comfort of your presence and the confidence to trust in you, even when the outcome is uncertain. In fact, that's when we really need to trust in you, when the outcome is uncertain. And aren't we going through uncertain outcomes now? Please calm my mind, bring peace to my heart, and strengthen my spirit to carry on. Lord, lay a path for me and help me to follow your way as I move forward. These things I ask in the name of your Son, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And Lord, I ask you to bless our watchers, bless my guests, and I have to say how thrilled I am at where I'm broadcasting from today, which is the Detroit Historical Museum. I have a wonderful guest here, but for me to be here at this illustrious, monumental, I mean, it's a big surprise for me that I'm even here.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Don't wait. Call us to get your Care Watch right now. Operators are standing by.
Claudreen Jackson thought she had it all until she was faced with the challenges of raising an autistic child. Inspired by autism is her brutally honest journey filled with heartbreak and triumph. Get your copy and find the support you deserve today by visiting www.claudreenjackson.tv.
let me introduce to you Rebecca Salminen Witt. Thank you so much. It is such a pleasure to have you here.
It is amazing to have you here. We are just thrilled.
So I want to ask you, the artifacts and exhibits here that breathe life into the tales of Detroit evolution, this museum stands as a beacon of preservation. And I'm told that you have been instrumental in shaping the institution as to what it is today. And I'm eager to hear about your vision for the future and the experience that await our guests. And I am one of the guests who have been guests coming here many years ago. And as a retired teacher, we brought students here. Never expected to be broadcasting a show from here, so it just goes to show you. So this museum is a time capsule of Detroit's past. Now I know what my favorite exhibit is, but do you want to share with us one of your exhibits you guide people to?
Oh my goodness, you know, we have so many great exhibits here. I think what I love about this museum is that everybody has a favorite exhibit.
Yes.
It is a warm, welcoming place to come. And it really is one of those places that when you arrive here, you really feel that you are welcome and you're going to have a fun time, and there's something for everybody. We open about 8 to 10 new exhibits here a year. So it's kind of hard to choose your favorite one.
My husband was a part of one of the new exhibits one year. So this is the amazing thing to me. This has been a banner year for the Spinners. I have mentioned that the Spinners are going into the Rock Hall of Fame this year. But the Spinners, some of my husband's memorabilia is already here in the Detroit Historical Museum. In the music lab. Is it Motor City? What is the music?
It's called Motor City Music.
Motor City Music. And some of the Spinners, my husband, Purvis Jackson, bass singer of the Spinners, some of his memorabilia is here. And I'm getting to broadcast from here. So what you're seeing is God is still working miracles in the world.
You know, it's such an honor to have his memorabilia here, his artifacts here. And when we take an artifact into our collection, I don't know if they told you this when you were so generous to donate, but when we take an artifact into the collection, we are guaranteeing that we are going to take care of it forever. And so having something special in the permanent collection of the Detroit Historical Society really is an amazing thing. And we are just so proud that we have Mr. Jackson's things here. We've got the Spinners things here. We have the gold record right in this exhibit right now.
Yes. And when I decided to donate something here, I wasn't comfortable about it. I didn't know whether I should or not. But when I got here and saw the exhibit and saw the respect, that this is a museum full of respect for everything that they exhibit. And I thought, my husband, his spirit is happy. He would love to know that he would be proud to know that something of his is in the Detroit Historical Museum, as I am proud. But can you share with us the origin story of the Detroit Historical Museum?
So the Detroit Historical Society is 102 years old.
Wow.
We were started in 1921. And the phrase was by a group of congenial spirits. So these were people who got together. They knew that they were collectors themselves, and they knew that Detroit's history, even back in 1921, was going to be an important history that the world deserved to know about and should be saved. And so they got together and agreed to start collecting. They pooled their own collections together.
Wow.
And they started the society at that time. Now, the society has had a couple of different museums, but this museum, the Detroit Historical Museum, was built in 1951.
Wow.
And it was built in 1951 to house that collection, which had by that time been being collected for about 30 years. And some of the things that are everybody's favorites today, the streets of Old Detroit, are original to the museum from back in 1951. So it really is a special place. It's a place where we take really good care of the things that we are entrusted with, and we do it all for the public, for the folks who are going to come in and visit us.
And I have a question about how does the museum work to engage and educate visitors, particularly the younger generation. I can answer that. As a retired teacher, we brought our students, there were field trips here, so are there many students that...
So the school field trips, boy, that's kind of like our bread and butter. That's what we live for.
Well,
we bring, between 15 and 25,000 children here a year.
Wow.
And we do a really good job of correlating our exhibits, and you probably remember this as a school teacher, how important this is, to have exhibits that are correlated to the lesson plans that you already have to teach.
Absolutely.
So we make it really easy for teachers to bring their kids here because our exhibits are correlated to those state standards.
And this place, as far as our students are concerned, it helps history come alive.
It does.
You have made history alive, fun, easy to understand. So I am just so thankful that this museum is here.
Thank you.
And that it is such a great institution.
Well, and you asked me about some of my favorite things here, and I guess what I would point you to is some of the things that we are doing kind of behind the scenes,
right,
to make sure that the exhibits that are here continue to be that exciting for kids. Young people learn differently, and education methods are changing all the time. Even the way that we live our lives are changing all the time. And so even though this is a historical museum and the stories that we tell our history, we work really hard to make sure that the way we are telling those keeps up with the times.
Yes.
So it's exciting to people and you feel like you're there, and there are buttons to push, and you can use your phone if you want, all those things.
I know that there's an immersive project in this lab, if it's still there, that if the person could mix a tape or sing with their favorite, so that this is an immersive area that I know about. Is there any other immersive?
There are, yeah, and that's a great example. So this is one, if you're really interested in Detroit music, you get to try your hand at, what would you have been like as a music producer back in the day? Maybe you wanted to be a singer. What was that like? Some of our other things, our Detroit 67 exhibit is a really famous exhibit now. It's newer. It was started in 2017 is when we launched that exhibit. And that exhibit actually has some immersive, we call them interactives, where you walk in and you actually feel like you are on the street in 1967.
Wow.
So you get that feeling, and that scene is actually a looting scene. And so it makes you really kind of stop and think how you would have behaved if you had been on the street in July of 1967. So really engaging stuff.
It's wonderful. Do you have any future projects or key initiatives that you want to discuss now?
Absolutely. Well, and when you talk about that immersive experience, right?
Yes.
So the streets of Old Detroit, that puts you literally on the
yes,
street of
absolutely.
Old Detroit.
Yes, it does.
And
yes,
so
it
you
does.
are walking through, something a little behind the scenes info that people don't often realize is that all those little storefronts down in the streets of Old Detroit are original storefronts. Those are real stores that existed in Detroit back when the museum was built.
I know.
And
that's preserving history.
Preserving history, and that's what makes it so, it really gives you a different feeling when you're there. You know that it's real. And that's what a history museum is so exciting about. But even though that is so engaging, it's the place that everybody remembers, we still are working behind the scenes to make it more interesting. This fall, we're going to open a new aspect of the streets of Old Detroit. You're going to actually be able to take out your phone, scan a QR code, or enter a thing, and hear more curation, more history right there in the streets, right off of your own device.
Well, that's some of the technology. I was going to ask you about technology. You've just explained how that's helpful.
It's also important for the young people because every kid has a phone in their hand all the time. And so rather than having those young people on a field trip with their school or on a trip with their families and getting in trouble for having their phone in their hand, we wanted them to be able to use it to experience the museum.
Wonderful. Now, isn't that adjusting to the way things are? So there are a lot of historical events, and how sharing some stories of how some of these historical events are portrayed. I personally, of course, you know, I love this music lab. It's one of my favorite exhibits. I love personally the streets of old Detroit. And I also love the Underground Railroad exhibit.
The doorway to freedom.
Yes.
That's a beautiful
So
one.
everyone that comes here finds something that they like. And what about you who are watching? Have you been? If you come, is there something that will, have we said something that will interest you, like the music lab or the streets of old Detroit or the Underground Railroad? Those are only three that I'm naming. There are other ones. There are
lots and lots.
Yes.
People love coming to the Gallery of Culture and seeing the original marquee lights from Old Tiger Stadium restored and lit up just like the day they were brand new. People love coming here to see that. We have people who come and see our America's Motor City exhibit. The kind of centerpiece of that exhibit is called the Body Drop. It's a piece of equipment from the Clark Street Cadillac plant.
Wow.
And something that's special about that exhibit is actually the people who worked in the Clark Street plant paid for that piece of equipment to be saved and brought here to the Historical
Wow.
Museum. And we still have folks who worked at that plant way back in the 80s who come and visit that equipment now, and they're able to tell their families, their grandkids, their kids, the stories about when they worked there and how important that was to what Detroit was then and what it became. So, you know, another kind of really interesting piece of the museum that, you know, everybody comes and sees it, but knowing that behind the scenes story that the people who worked with that equipment actually paid for it to be brought here,
Amazing.
it's kind of special.
That's amazing. Now, my husband's exhibit that's here, someone from the museum came to our home and I told them they could pick out what they wanted. And like I said, I felt like, am I doing the right thing? Now I know that I did the right thing, and I'm so, and is it me being here confirmation?
I think it is. I think it is, absolutely. You know, this exhibit here, Motor City Music,
Yes.
is one of the exhibits. It's very rare that we change a permanent exhibit. This is a permanent exhibit, but this is an exhibit that's going to get a facelift very soon.
Oh.
So very soon we are going to be able to tell stories in this space in a whole different way. Your husband's artifacts will get a new shiny exhibit, a new way to be displayed.
Wow.
That's a really special moment for a historical museum, and we do that, like I said, just very rarely, but this one is on our list.
I'm going to take a short break. Stick and stay and don't go away, and we'll be right back.
There is a call waiting for you. Are you going to answer? Maximize your creativity through a career in cosmetology. Improve your earning potential and prepare yourself for an exciting future. Embrace quality education and become the next level of salon professional. Only at the Salon Professional Academy, Battle Creek. The home where creativity is celebrated, skills and modern techniques are accentuated. T-Spa specializing in cosmetology, aesthetics, massage therapy, and so much more. Classes starting soon. For more information on classes, visit www.tspabattlecreek.com. Financial aid available to those who qualify.
Thank you so much for sticking with me for the Claudreen Jackson Show. I appreciate it. We're here at this wonderful Detroit Historical Museum, and I am just thoroughly amazed to even be here. And we're talking to Rebecca Salminen Witt, who is instrumental in shaping the museum as it is, and instrumental in some of the future things for the museum. And I asked about you coming to the museum. It's only $10. You can come and see all the things that we are talking about. So there was something else you wanted to mention about
you know, it's only $10 to get in if you're an adult.
Yes.
It's less if you're a senior citizen, or if you're active military, or if you're a child. But most importantly, members get into this museum free every single day. So your best way is to join as a member. And if you are a Detroiter, if you live in the city of Detroit, Highland Park or Hamtramck, there's a Detroiter membership that is no cost to you.
Wow.
So you just go online, you sign up for the Detroiter membership. You can come here anytime you like for free. And also, you know, even if you choose not to become a member, you come and visit us, you pay your $10. If you love it so much while you're here, you can apply that $10 for membership on the back end.
Oh,
so
wow.
we make it really easy to come to your historical museum anytime you like.
Wow. But from my experiences with the museum, and me having been a person that came here, many years ago, and when you told us how long the museum, I'm more ancient than this. I'm more ancient.
Did you get to come to the big opening in 1951?
I do mention my age occasionally because I do want people to know that you can reach your 80s and still have life in you and still be able to make a contribution. I am 84 years old and the museum is younger than me, so I've been saying that I'm ancient, but when I talk about my age, I want people to know that you can reach this age and still have life in you and still be able to make a contribution to life. So this museum is one of the cornerstones of our cultural.
The cultural center. For
yes,
sure, yeah.
Yes.
You know, you were asking me what we did to make sure that the community had a voice here.
Yes.
And we take that really seriously. You are a perfect example of what we do. So when we are building a museum, let me tell you a little bit about how a regular old historical museum might do its job. We all have wonderful collections.
Yes.
We all have wonderful stories. Our historians are really great, wonderful researchers. They're such smart people. The way a normal historical museum goes about its job is it thinks about a story it wants to tell. Its historians do their job. They do some research. They look in their collection. They find some artifacts. They do all the hard work. They wrap it up with a bow, and then they invite people to come in and see it. Your experience was different with us.
Yes, totally different.
So what we do here.
So I know what I put in here is authentic and.
Well, what we do here is we go out and talk to the folks.
Yes.
We say, boy, we know this is an important piece of history. What do you have to tell us about it? What do you have to share that we could share with the world? And based upon what we learn from those community folks, what the stories we hear from you first, then we go and we take the stories that you've given us, we take the artifacts that you've given us, we add to it like we did in this exhibit.
Yes.
And then we build all of that into a story that our community can relate to more carefully. And the reason it can relate to it so sort of at its heart is because it's their story. We've listened to you. We asked you for your artifacts, and that's how we build these exhibits. This exhibit, the Motor City Music exhibit, we have an exhibit right now called Body by Fisher, where we're telling the story of Fisher Body Corporation. When we opened that exhibit, you know, almost everybody in Detroit knows somebody who worked at Fisher Body, right? My grandma worked at Fisher Body. When we opened that exhibit, we did it as a family reunion. 1,000 people came here that day.
Wow.
And that's because, again, we listened to the folks.
Yes.
We baked their stories into that exhibit, and it made it meaningful.
When the person came to our house to get materials for the museum, I told him he could choose what he wanted. My husband had a collection of drumsticks.
Oh, man.
He chose the ones that were beat up.
Yes.
You can see. So he chose the used drumsticks. Well, they'd all been used, but these had been beat up so bad that you knew they were used.
And I think they're right up on the wall behind you. And you know what's great about that, though? That's the kind of artifact that we love. We love those artifacts that give you the feeling that you were there.
Yes.
So that you can picture that percussionist's hands on those drumsticks and almost feel the sound that came out of those drums when it was struck as hard as it was to bash those drumsticks up.
You know, when I was younger, you thought of a museum as this place where it was like untouchable and
Exactly.
But you all have made it a part of our life and of our existence. So it's not that distant where you
Nope.
look but don't touch place.
Right. It is your museum. And we work really hard. What we say is we want everybody to feel like they can find their story
Yes.
in our halls and on our walls.
And as a retired teacher, trying to get students interested in history, this was one of the ways that we could get them interested in history, by them coming here. Like you said, there's something that appeals to everyone. This is a place for every age. People my age, in their 80s, we can enjoy it. Children can enjoy it. This is spans the spectrum of who can come here and enjoy it.
Well, and you know what? That is an important moment, not only for kids, but for everyone, especially these days, because what we know is that if we don't remember our history, we're bound to repeat the problems of the past.
That's right.
And in this day and age, couldn't we all use a little bit of a history lesson so that we can move our society on to a place where we're proud of it? I think we could.
Tell us about Legends
Legends Plaza is right out in the front of the museum. It's
Yes.
right on Woodward Avenue. We've got handprints from Detroit legends,
Yes.
all kinds of legends. And in fact, next spring we're going to have an event where we're unveiling a few new legends who have just been added to the plaza. as
Oh,
well.
wow. I was so happy to see that, because that, when I was teaching, I retired almost 20 years ago. It wasn't there then. So I've been seeing the updating and the new history that's been presented.
Yep, and
So-
lots of musicians are out there. We have Miss Aretha's handprints out there. We're putting a few newscasters that everybody will remember out there in the spring.
I love that's great. That's great.
Well, and I have to mention that this museum is just about to become certified autism friendly.
Whoa.
So for your son and every other person who's neurodiverse, everybody on the spectrum, this is going to be a museum where you can come and be comfortable and know that it's a safe place for you.
Well, I am so glad to know that. So it's time for me to go. I thank you for tuning in to the Claudreen Jackson Show. I'm thanking my wonderful guests today for all this good information that we received. And until next time, may the power of God protect you. May the love of God enfold you.
Here's an important message from the U.S. Med Diabetes Solutions Center. If you have diabetes, you know the pain of pricking your fingers. But now, by wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce your pain right away. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. So call us right now to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost. U.S. Med. Better service. Better care.